Hello, and welcome everyone to another one of Icebat's video game reviews. And my controller just shorted out there for a second. Not reviews, commentary. Okay, well, this time I'm going to talk a little bit about the game that I've been playing and what you've been seeing for the past 3 videos. Yes, I know. Okay, so a few things about what I've been playing. The game is Bioshock Infinite, where you play as Booker DeWitt. He's been sent to the floating city known as Columbia to search for a girl by the name of Elizabeth. The people of Columbia worship America's founding fathers as gods or deities, such as you saw in the opening video, where they were worshipping Jefferson and Washington, the golden statues. And as you could have probably just heard, that guard who I knocked the head off of shouting for Columbia. The city was originally built in 1901, decided by President William McKinley, and was supposed to represent the epitome of American ideals, although was later disavowed by the United States government after it was revealed. Sorry, he was interrupting me. After it was later revealed, the city was also something of a battleship and fired upon Chinese civilians during the Boxer Rebellion. You know what the battle system. I don't know if you've played any of the Condemned games or Condemned 2, but the enemy AI reminds me a lot of the movements and the way that they try to make it so it's difficult for you to anticipate their attacks. That's just what it reminded me of. Anyways, the city of Columbia was disavowed because it fired upon people in the Boxer Rebellion, and because of this, the city was left to isolation, and civilians split into differing factions.
I told you, Comstock. You sell them paradise, and the customers expect sheriffs for every chore. No menials in God's kingdom.
They split into factions and began warring over each other for power. At the time of DeWitt's entry into the city, there are 2 factions. Those who believe in the founders and are led by Zachary Hale Comstock, and the Vox Populi, who fight for the common citizens. So, you know, the same old story where people are fighting against the powers that be. That is not to say at all that, you know, the game is boring or anything. If I am playing like shit, it is because I have been drinking a little bit. It is the weekend. So sorry if my accuracy isn't up to notch or my focus. Fireworks! Now, Comstock is something of a prophet, and he claims to have visions given to him by an archangel. Which one it is, I'm not sure. Perhaps that will be revealed later in the story, or I was not paying enough attention, in which case... Yeah, apparently you can use possession on those things. On the machines and control them. But of course it kind of takes away from the game as it kills all the enemies. And what is more fun than that? So, Comstock serves as the game's main antagonist. And basically what he's done is he's created a system of beliefs, which are sort of a mixture of theology and American ideals. And you may have heard his name in earlier game videos, which I've done for this. And that's why you saw people worshipping the Founding Fathers in the opening video. The people you see within the city, they're all followers of Comstock. He claims that Elizabeth is his daughter and is supposed to be the lamb that will lead Columbia into the future, or some such thing. Elizabeth, the girl that you were looking for. See, I don't see how those police hats would, whoops. Keep them from being instantly killed. I mean, they don't seem to serve any real defensive purpose. So basically you were hired by the Lutece twins, am I saying that correctly? Who were the two people in the boat, and then later the ones who asked you to flip the coin in my earlier videos, actually in the first video, and then later on the second or third, I believe, with the coin flip. To find Elizabeth. Supposedly this is going to wipe away the debt. What is the debt? Will we find out? All we can do is keep playing and see. I am as much in the dark as all of the viewers there, because I went into this game knowing nothing about it really, and I guess the possession wears off after a time. So we're all just going to have to wait and see. The firemen! The firemen! Where? Uh-huh. Yeah, nothing there, guys. So, that is a brief summary of what it is you've been watching for the first few videos. If you've never played a Bioshock game before, this one differs from the previous two, as it takes place in a more open society. In the clouds, unlike the others which took place in the underwater city of Rapture. It just gives you that idea of more freedom, as it was in Rapture you felt more contained. Bioshock games generally have a strong political undertone, and their cities have so far been imaginative and unique. It's an action-adventure type of game, where you are required to both fight for survival as well as explore everything around you. Not only to pick up items necessary for your survival, but to learn more about the world around you. If you haven't already noticed, the game seems to just throw you into this world without an explanation. So this is the fireman. Well, they did explain to me the fireman, saying he's the fireman. And that was extraordinarily anticlimactic, I have to say. I mean, they talked up a storm with this guy, and that's it. Ah, Devil's Kiss. Whew. Now see, that would be the worst thing possible, is to lose the use of my fingers or have constantly flaming hands, because that would end my life of playing video games, and not a pleasant thing to think about. If you haven't already the game throws you into the world without an explanation. It's your job to explore and uncover just what it is that's going on. This can be found within various recordings, such as the one that I picked up earlier in the video. They give you details and more insight into the world around you. Tell about its story, the people within it. Here, I'm going to select my Devil's Kiss power. And that's oil on the ground there. You can use it to ignite in a wider radius. And now I'm low on salt, so you use those to use your vigor powers. And that's another part of Bioshock, is generally you'll get these powers, and they're explained differently in the games. In this game, it's a vigors. What was it in the first one? I can't recall, but I know that it was different. And the powers that you obtain are reflected upon the society that you're in at the time. Like Bioshock 1 and 2, they both took place in the City of Rapture, I do believe. It's been a while since I played 2, and I only played it once. Oh, and the game, more information about the game can also be found in kinetoscopes. Am I right in saying that? And those were those things that I was looking into. You know, kind of like the first moving pictures things, which were you know, kind of like. Well, I'll just wait and see when I could find another one to give you an example of those. So yeah, you need to look around, you need to find like candy bars, things to eat, food, money, which are silver eagles. Here, I'm going to go in this building now. And the loading screens are not that frequent in the game. Like, I believe this is one of the first ones, or maybe the second one, actually. And generally, whenever you enter a building such as this one, which transition, here they are, the kinetoscopes. These will give you more information about your world. Like this is telling about Comstock. And I'll take a look at this one. Now this provides a good example of the kind of propaganda that is provided by this society to the people. See how they state that Columbia, the city that is supposed to be the epitome of American ideals, what they're doing is they're standing against the Chinese citizens, and Washington is telling them to stand down. What they claim is that Washington has now turned their backs upon America's ideals, and they have now secluded, and they now consider America to be cowardly. They have seceded from the Union, they disappear into the clouds, and now they are a floating city, traveling the world, its location unknown. And yeah, it's extraordinary, the level of detail that these games consist of. I've found them entertaining. I remember the first time that I played Bioshock, and here are the Lucette twins. They show up multiple times throughout the game, and we are going to have to find out later how it is that this is possible. I mean, first they were on a boat, and then you flipped a coin with them. But that's what I really enjoy, the dialogue and the music and their overall tone within the game, is that they are helpful, they work alongside with you, and they provide these nice little conversations, which really add to the atmosphere of the game, I find. So far, I found the game's overall setting to be excellent. It brought me back to what I originally felt when I first played the first Bioshock. And here's a voxophone. This gives you information to the history. These are recordings
needed to write its biograph. Me. The man pays for exactly 100 pages in advance. Now, I'm half a Jew when I smell silver, so I say, Father, your flock would pay for 1,000. You know, why settle for less? And then the prophet looks to me and says, 100 will suffice, as I know how it ends.
And through this dialogue, you know, you understand more about the people's psychology, more about the world around you that they live in. Now, when I first started the game, as I was saying, it gave me that feeling of when I first played Bioshock, when I was introduced into the city of Rapture. Notice how it gives you that more freedom. Seeing the underwater city of Rapture for the first time, it's a feeling that hasn't been found in any other game since. The wow factor of finding yourself in a floating city, such as in the first episode when you were sitting on a chair and suddenly transported into this and seeing it for the first time. What is more satisfying than that? Machine gun? It probably helped that I knew nothing of this game before playing, other than the rumors that it was excellent, so I had no idea what I was in for, and I was impressed. The second Bioshock I remember being meh. I'm not saying in any way that it's a bad game, it's just that I don't remember much from it, and I did only play it once, as I've said. And who is that? I do remember it being entertaining, but nowhere near as good as the first one. And the first one has aged a little bit over the years. I can't remember which year it was, but it was... It's been a while since I've played that one, and perhaps I will review that one. The controls are smooth, and as it's an FPS, first-person shooter, there really is no issue with the camera angles, as you can see, seeing as you are playing the game in first person. As for the plot, it moves at a steady pace and delivers enough hooks to keep pulling you in. I find myself curious as to what's going to happen next. Who Elizabeth is, what her story is, as well as that of the main character. It gives you answers as well as provides more questions so that you aren't bored and want to continue playing. As well as several entertaining gunfights such as these. And I always love the use of the powers in these games. Personally, I prefer this one. It just is more fun. Not doing good, not doing good. And that is fun. That's fun. That's nice. Yeah, I'm gonna need some health. As you can see, I'm not doing too well in health department. Luckily, these soldiers seem to be carrying things like pears and delicious items that I can use for my consumption and heal. Because if I die this early in the game, that would be pretty pathetic. Perhaps I should go back and see if I can find any health. Yeah, I haven't found myself bored by the plot. I'm actually curious as to what's going to happen next. Also, the game is gorgeous if you haven't already noticed. I'm not even playing with the full settings. I've knocked them down quite a bit for my recordings. Now, I know what you've been wondering. Hey, Icebat, is it difficult using the controller with your little bat wings? Well, the answer is no, it isn't. You see, I can change to a human form, so I'm not always in bat form. However, I do retain the personality of a bat. And so yes, it's an excellent game, and thank you for listening to my commentary today. This is Icebat, signing off.